So with our lovely episodes of the day, you will have heard about stories and relationships, silence, apologies, and we get to now talk about conversations. So when you are connected to this lovely big web, as a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, you know that every person can become a real boy, real girl, real they. They can tap into their mammalian heritage. How? Through consistently, contingently communicating with the depths of their heart and with another person. Okay, so silence is good. I used to have questions, if you will, and then I started to realize how amazing it is for me to be within my own brain. And so while the people who don't like to think or feel, they have a Zen master who gives them laundry. They have spiritual bypassers who create events that re-traumatize them and they don't take it seriously. That's a bunch of mantles of mental health, mantles of yogas, but you try telling them that and they're like, no, it's an effective way to release. An effective way is for you to make sense of your story. That's how you're going to integrate the fragment that's coming up. But again, try telling Pinocchio with the wooden body not to follow that fox and that other dude after he gets out of with the theater guy, right? So that's what happens to childhood trauma survivors. They're healed. No. When they meet Patrick Teahan, maybe they'll figure out why they end up with codependent, toxic relationships. And there's those who make sense of them. I've met people that I actively have tried to inform. You know what trauma bonding is by any chance? You want to maybe look it up. They're spiritual bypassers. They have mantles. They're Pinocchios with a wooden body. Oh, believe me, I try and share with them all of this. Of course, I'm not going to say you're a wooden body. That would be disrespectful. But if I have to give you examples, I speak of pseudoscience from subjective experience, human, spiritual, and spirituality elements. But see, the human elements is from data people, the actual one, not one-in-ones. Not the ones who make up shit from their mouth because they have an opinion about evil. There's no opinion that I have except for a forensic criminologist stone. They all need good therapists. That's my one opinion. Anybody who is a spiritual bypass or therapist, they're organizing events that they're not taking seriously, therapy. Again, therapy. That's what I'm going to say. And purely you're repetitive. I am, because they don't take their inner child seriously. And I'm an inner child who's being myself my entire life. And I get to meet Pinocchios all the time. They're pretty boring. Okay, so if you don't want to be a Pinocchio in the wooden body stuff, come on over for personal development, self-help. There's one-on-one mentorship. We're going to have a masterclass at some point, and obviously there's Ask Me Maria opinionated columnist episodes in case you're curious. And we have the Inner Growth Mindset, which the main modules are for free on inspiringhumanpotential.com. And I'm not pronouncing it all effectively, but the podcast title, you know what it is. And you're going to see my name with that word all over the place. Okay, so with that being said, what happens when you meet a real boy, real girl, real they is that they will know how to sit, talk, and take ownership. And if they have done something that is effectively affecting you, I'm trying to think in my life. Yeah, we have conversations, plenty of them. So I have had projection, what is people who become passive aggressive and they throw shit at you. You learn about it from Patrick Teahan, and I didn't need to learn about it, but I learned about it. And I've always handled it as a functional adult, which is why we do functional adult love language. Because see, when you are an integrated brain, because you thankfully have love in your body and you choose to follow Jesus and God the way you were taught as a kid, you don't lose that innocence, but then you also know you don't lose pure consciousness. So I always say what I think and what I'm feeling. If you call me a liar, I'm not going to do anything about it, because there's plenty of people who ruminate, and then there's plenty of Cuscos and human being, not bodies. They're just a bunch of liars, pants on fire. I will feel their inner child. Let me out. And once they become a donkey, I know I have a donkey, because of the way that they are going to completely not have any idea of who they're interacting with, because I'm just a sounding board. And that's where we have secure connections, okay? So conversations are always going to be welcome for a person who is a 5D mystic, because we will know that we are connected. You're part of my herd. I don't cut my herd. I don't need to. You're not an energy vampire, dark warrior. You're not evil. There's no monsters. The only monster is, unfortunately, the 0-1-year-old who doesn't have a person who wants to take ownership. And what I mean is that the monster is sensations from a home that was not safe. And so what I feel bad for is the inner child that never gets claimed and that gets armored in due to people using the dark sides of neuroplasticity. and then believing bullshit statements from people who are also donkeys, like there's lack of imagination for evil, versus hearing neuroscientists, the brain experts explain to you how psychopathy works and how they are people and how to understand what's going on and stuff like that. So again, understanding doesn't mean justifying. It doesn't mean we get rid of laws. It means we use education in our brains. It's very straightforward, decency, unless you want to be part of the masses, like from the ancient textbooks, and that I do still see out there. So the masses that rally up together and they stand thinking, no, they're not thinking, they're in their brainstem, they're in their safety behavior with some ignorant human being who lacks complete mastery over their self, and they're a donkey to a person like me. So those are not conversations. In fact, when we meet people who are not human, we know how to do the right silence, as Pacha always knows when we have a Cusco, because we're all embodied brains. So conversations from the heart are where we spill to each other everything. We talk about it. There's nothing you cannot talk about when you have people who want to be authentic with you. The therapists I learned from, there's a lot of different number of them. I'm not a therapist. I'm a personal development self-help consultant, coach, holistic, call it what you will. There's many of the words. I am an inner child adult. Those who want to become their inner child adult, welcome. You don't, it's okay. Being yourself is beautiful when you're in a mammalian heritage and you have a feeling called many emotions that you welcome. And no, you don't play nice with everybody. You don't play mean, meaning you choose, as I thought, as you get older, you choose who you want to be around. And then you also choose how you use your 24 hours, right? Okay, so apologies. They're unnecessary to an empowered woman. We don't count the number of ways that somebody has not. I can share stories knowing that they get misunderstood. Like when I share my twin flames, all these people who think, oh, I'm so sorry. What are you sorry about? Don't you hear my tone? What's the deal? Don't you hear my voice? And that's when you know you got Pinocchios with wood. Because no, they're not hearing your voice. They're applying their thoughts, their emotions about a situation that is not theirs based on how they think and feel about it. It's called they're using their subjective experience, not hearing the person, 3-year-old in front of them, which is why I just don't bother anymore. And actually what I chose to consistently do is I'm not talking about Maria. You don't want to hear about Maria. And if I do and I hear, oh, I don't do anything because I'm like, shit, another one doesn't hear. Okay, well, it's good to know. Now I got a data point in my favor. So conversations to me are only when I'm getting heard. If not, I just learn how to deal with a Pinocchio with a wooden body. That's it. They're not dumb or anything. It's that they are not consciously present. I meet a teenager. I meet somebody who's going to tell me some bullshit statement of, I found it hard to believe that my first 3 years of life, I found it hard. I'm just going to keep hearing how hard they find it to believe. And I'm thinking, I know that I say things that might not make sense to you, but the fact that you're understanding where I'm getting this information from is one making my brain wonder, how do you find it hard to believe? Because and so I just learned how to, sometimes, depends who it is, say, look, I'm not the neurobiologist or neuroscientist, but I can tell you where the people are. You can go research it for yourself. I don't know what you want me to, it's kind of, what I find fascinating is people want to say that evil exists and not goodness. The biggest contradiction that anyone will ever have is when I hear that. I was a teenager and they taught me how people wouldn't believe in God. Once something bad happens to you, and that's exactly how I hear all those choruses. They say the same bullshit over and over again. I saw evil. It's not evil. It's people who don't want to go to good therapy. And then for the psychopathy group, there's only 2%. That's it. 1% maybe. And poor people, when they get a shitty home, you see what happens if they get a good home is they're members of society who don't have to go through fear. It's a good thing. It's a good thing they don't have to have fear. It's when they're not in a good home, that stuff. So people want to use a story. I don't use stories. There's data, people, that explain what humans are made of. So relationships, it's not about you. I'm so sorry. Really? You really? That word means nothing to me. You didn't do anything different than anybody else does. And I don't do the I'm sorry, and that's it. I say, I'm sorry, can we talk? What happened? And if I can't meet what you want, I'll say, I can't do that. I can't. It's okay. You don't have to like me. I just know who I am. And you can call me all the names in the book you want, but I won't lie to you in your face. I won't lie to you behind your back. I won't make up some excuse. We're all flawed and imperfect. That's the whole point. You choose who you want to hang out with. Sid, Manny, Diego, Pacha's here with Cusco's, wooden boys, wooden people, girls' days, but we are the Pachas, so we want to love. Tune in.